And on education, nursery education up, more teachers, more training places. We are scrapping the back-end tuition fees. Remember, delegates, Scotland is the country which invented free education. Delegates, this is the government which will restore free education to Scotland. And Fiona Hislop also saved the Crichton campus in Dumfries. Now, earlier this year, David Mundell, who's a Tory Member of Parliament, said it would take a miracle to save the Crichton campus. Delegates, it's official. Miracles happen in SNP Scotland. John Swinney carries a few portfolios, quite a few, and he does so commandingly. He has cancelled the absurd plan to put a rail hub under a live runway at Edinburgh Airport, and instead has announced the biggest rail investment in Scotland for a generation. It will reduce the journey times across Scotland. That means cutting the unacceptable time it takes to travel from Inverness and Aberdeen to the rest of Scotland. We'll electrify the Edinburgh-Glasgow line, get the journey down to 35 minutes. But today I want to give our businesses and citizens some good news about the M8 link between Edinburgh and Glasgow, which is part motorway, part dual carriageway. In our view, it's not acceptable in the 21st century Scotland, and therefore I can tell confidence there will now finally be a complete end-to-end motorway between two of our great cities. Delegate, Scotland has unrivalled potential in renewable and green energies, and we are determined to seize that comparative advantage. We have opened the European testing facility for tidal power at Ede in the Orkney Islands, sanctioned the largest commercial wave energy system in the world. In September, we marked Green Energy Day, the day when the installed capacity of renewable power in Scotland exceeded that of nuclear power. And delegates, we have made it crystal clear there shall be no more nuclear power stations in Scotland. And this government has committed to the introduction of a climate change bill. Scotland's Parliament having the opportunity to face up to the big issues challenging the planet. Now, delegates, I read that we're accused of doing things just because they're popular. Well, first of all, for the leader of a minority government, that perhaps isn't a bad place to start. However, politics is more than about what's popular. Granting the children of asylum seekers the same rights as other children in Scotland in terms of nursery provision and access to education was not courting popularity, but delegates, it was the right thing to do. It's about decency, humanity and fairness. It's about the sort of people we are and the sort of Scotland we want to be. Conference, that is the SNP in government, a record of achievement and a drive to restore a sense of credibility and self-worth to public life in this country. Now, certainly some of the things that we've done have been designed to meet immediate priorities. However, many are for the long term. The Council of Economic Advisers, the new Enterprise Network, the new Skills Strategy, the Broadcasting Commission, tackling the binge drinking culture, the £100 million new investment in our universities and colleges. These are for the long term, the big picture. That is why confidence in the government translates into confidence in the country. Delegates, politicians dream about the politics of ambition, triumphing over the politics of despair. We are living that dream. Our job is to raise the bar, to move on from reflecting on where Labour in Scotland has failed the last generation, to how we will build a country worthy of the next generation. We are engaged in the politics of ambition, stretching the boundaries of what this country can be. Earlier this year, in Glasgow Airport, in its adversity, provided inspiration for the nation. Subjected to a terrorist attack, our emergency services responded. Passers-by responded. The airport staff responded. John Smeaton even introduced a new lexicon, the banjo technique of dealing with international terrorism. Delegates, we owe a debt of gratitude to all those who rose to the challenge and had our airport up and running within 24 hours. But in Glasgow Airport right now, somebody has provided some advice for the nation. Now, as you know, I famously don't have much regard for my predecessor's slogan, the best small country in the world. In true Glaswegian style, someone's taken a marker pen and scored out small. Now, I was thinking about doing it more officially, but this Glaswegian magic marker is right. Scotland's only small if we think small. This government does not think small. We think big for Scotland. And that involves not claiming or boasting that Scotland is the best wee country in the world, but rather having the ambition to become the best country in the world. In the next few weeks, we'll be laying out our budget for the next 3 years. And because of the restrictions that are being placed upon us by the Treasury, it will be tough. But we will make it work. Because of the total incompetence of our predecessors, Scotland has lost money, hundreds of millions of pounds. But we will use ingenuity. Of course, Westminster will try to stop us, but we will prevail. The Scotland we inherited was dominated by a lobbying culture, a country almost frightened to know itself, always nervously glancing over its shoulder to Westminster. One of the results of that is that we developed a public sector landscape of 200 national bodies created by legislation. That's right, 200, 199 to be exact. I think the Scotland office might be the 200th quango in Scotland just now. Now, many of these are fine organisations composed of fine people working for the public good. But we don't need 200. We're a country of 5 billion people. We don't need overlap, duplication, people falling over each other. We are now a democratic society with a national parliament charged with the responsibility and role of public scrutiny. So that's why today I can announce it is our intention in the course of this Parliament to reduce the number of quangos and government agencies in Scotland by 1/4. Smaller, fitter, better government for Scotland, more money for the people's priorities. A country almost frightened to know itself. Stand Scotland where it did, not anymore. Now, Labour say that this government, our government, Scotland's government, is determined to pick a fight with Westminster. Of course, they would never dream of picking a fight with us. In fact, we seek cooperation wherever we can find it. But what this government has done and will always do is to stand up for Scotland. In fact, we wouldn't have to stand up for Scotland so often if our predecessors had stood up for Scotland at all. So the days of silent surrenders or craven capitulations in Scottish governance, these days are over. This party, this government, first, last, always, is about the Scottish national interest.